Welcome back, everybody. Clint today with Classic Firearms at the beautiful Ridgeline Defense Facility in northern New Hampshire, where Surefire has so politely invited us out here to introduce the new Surefire RC3 silencer. This is their new reduced back pressure design, which I am very excited to shoot for the very first time today and really get a feel for this can. You guys know Surefire has been, well, they've got the reputation of making probably the most durable silencer on the market, that being the RC2, which I proudly own myself, and we'll stack that up against the RC3 and how they both perform against one another. But ultimately, BCM has provided these 11.5-inch rifles that we'll be utilizing at Ridgeline today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a lot of courses out here with the carbines, but also vehicles, and Team O'Neill is going to be out here. It's just going to be a really good time. So stay tuned. Let's see how this can feels to shoot. Let's see if we notice that reduced back pressure, and let's see if I can just run the course all day without any ear prop. We're getting ready to kick off our day one course of fire. We've got Jay, who's the director of training over here at Ridgeline Defense, and just walk us through really quick what we'll be doing today, man.
Day one, we're going to do a basic carbine warm-up.
Okay.
So we're going to get these guns zeroed. We're going to see how the cans shoot. We are going to work on shooting on the move.
Yep.
We're going to do some alts. So basically kneeling, standing, everything else getting off our bellies. Yeah. Push them to the distance a little bit.
Okay.
And then we're going to really focus heavy on the prop line, fighting around vehicles, right? So knowing how to interface the gun around the vehicle, the different angles, shooting around the front of the car, over the hood, underneath the car. Yeah. Lots of different ways you can get all that stuff done. And that's kind of the basic building block,
right,
before we move on to the other stuff, like fighting down the street.
Yeah, and I noticed the prop line, as you guys call it, we've got all sorts of different types of barricades, things like that, props to be able to shoot off of, and a lot of it's real world stuff. It's not just your Viking Tactics, barricade, which is a great tool, don't get me wrong.
You're never going to find one in a gunfight, though.
You're never going to find one in a gunfight, but you will find tunnels, you will find piles of rock, you will find a gate, fences, telephone poles, things like that.
Flipped cars.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have it all down there.
Yeah, which is going to be really cool to see. So let's go ahead and hop into it, and let's see how I do if I can shoot off these really uncomfortable things.
All right, lines hot, 10 rounds.
So those were my very first 10 shots with the new Surefire RC3 with the 60% less back pressure. So far I'm shooting in the prone position, utilizing my magazine as a monopod, so I don't really get a feel for the recoil as much. But so far I'm really impressed with the silencer. Again, it's only been 10 shots, so it's not like I can really get that much out of it right now, but let's just get this thing heated up. And I have a feeling we'll probably shoot a little bit more, a little bit quicker, a little bit later, so stay tuned for that.
So we're going to run this in two different phases. So the first phase, we're going to start, I'm going to demo it for you, so don't worry. You're going to start off, we're going to have 1 second cadence. A 1 second cadence sounds like, right, 1001, 1002, 1003. And we're going to sight in at that top left circle, remembering our height over bore. You're going to be sighted in on target, weapon off safe, finger on trigger. Then we'll get down to a ½ second, and then we'll get down to a ¼ second. But after we do 3 runs of 5 on the circle, then we're going to go to the numbered squares. It's going to feel really, really slow. You're like, man, I can go faster than this. I know you can. Like I said, it's a training wheel thing to show you when you should grab certain gears. First thing I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to sight in, remembering my height over bore. And I'm just gonna be on the trigger, weapon off safe, and I'm gonna fire 5 rounds at the 1 second cadence at the top left circle. Right? So 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Alright, pretty simple. Then we're gonna go off the clock. So you're gonna get the beep, and you're gonna go 1 through 5. You get the beep, you go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Come back to safe, and we'll do that a couple times. I told you we'll change the order in which we do it, so you're not just doing the same sequence every time. All right, go ahead, cover down 7-yard line. Sight in, weapon off safe, finger on trigger, 1000. All right, come to a low ready. On the beep, 1 through 5 in sequence. 1 through 5 in sequence. Remember, we're trying to hit perfectly in the center of the rectangle. Stand by. All right, now we're going to go 5 through 1. 5 through 1 in a 1 second cadence. I'll demo the half-second cadence. So a half-second cadence sounds like and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I'm gonna shoot that half-second cadence, right? So and 1 and 2. All right, everybody, go ahead, get back online. Sighted on the second dot down, second dot down. Finger on trigger and 1. All right, sight back in. Weapon on fire, finger on trigger, and 1. All right, so we're gonna use that bigger circle down in the bottom, and again, it's gonna sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so what I did there was sighted in on this, shot, drove my eyes to this, and then pushed the gun, and as soon as my brain says, hey, press the trigger now, I'm already starting to get carried off the target, right? So something to try, as the gun recoils on this, just represent to this, right? As it recoils from this, represent to this, so on and so forth. All right, go ahead, cover down. Sighted on the big circle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3. Get some brass.
So that was a pretty fun little drill. Something that the instructor is teaching us is ultimately that cadence, right? Being able to step on the gas, let off on the gas, and you can see kind of exactly what happens here, right? So again, when we had pretty much a 1 second split, I could take my time a little bit more and I have a much tighter group here, pulled 1 there. If we have a half-second split, then we're starting to open that up a little bit, but a larger target. Then that quarter-second split, you know, that looks really good. It's all in the black except for that one. I'm really happy with that, but if you look at how much more open that is compared to the others, you see that really you start to drive the gun a little bit faster. Then you have to take into consideration recoil, and also too being able to line up that sight for that second follow-up or 5th follow-up shot. And then of course bouncing from the targets, really happy with my performance on all of these except for that one right up here, you know. So there is that. But ultimately being able to go ahead and put on the brakes before you overshoot your target, and what the instructor has said ultimately is go ahead and use the recoil to help drive that gun. So as soon as the gun recoils, bang, I'm actually letting it come back down onto the next target. I'm focusing on the next target. So far so good. The Surefire RC3 feels really good out here. I have no issues whatsoever with this silencer, and also the gas back to the face. Feels good.
We're gonna start off at the low ready. Before we do the hot ready one. So you guys see we have our 3-inch dot targets. The reason I do this is to really kind of force you to pick that certain spot that you're going for. This toe is kind of lined with my support side heel. My support hand's doing most of the work, pulling the gun back into my shoulder, just keeping that firm handshake grip on here. If I death grip the gun with this hand, my trigger finger is going to start to get back to get that trigger freeze, right? I want to be a little bit more towards the center of my chest. That's going to help me be a little more aggressive. I want some of my weight forward, so if I bend this knee, it kind of helps me cheat that. Instead of throwing the gun up like this and have to just stop it, all right, I'm going to give it the gas and then lift off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold center of that circle. I'm just going to press the trigger once. All right, so I'm right on here, and what I'm checking now is my offset. All right, decent bit of offset. So now I'm going to see if I can cheat it in by just holding the top of the circle. See if that works. All right, and I got it. The best case though, if I need to be absolutely perfect, all I'm gonna do is mirror pretty much where my first shot hit above the circle, and then that should get me right in the center. Right. Once you guys all go through that process, those 3 shots, we're just gonna work our way down that column. I'm just gonna shrink our part time as we go. So I'm just gonna bring the rifle up, get to my right point, come back on safe, and then come to low ready. And that's it, that's all we're doing. Now I want you to mirror your first shot above it and see where that lands. Now we know where we have to aim. So the whole rest of this process, we should be able to keep them all inside that circle. That's our goal. All right, so just go ahead, assume a good fighting stance like I showed you. I want my weight slightly forward, my knees slightly bent. I want my toes pointing towards the target generally. You know, people have different levels of kind of pitching feet and stuff. Try to control that recoil. Remember, don't drive that gun up so hard you have to put the brakes on. You're just gonna give it some gas and lift off. All right, stand by. 3 rounds, next dot down. All right, I'm gonna give you a part time here. We're gonna go 3 seconds. All right, dropping it down to 2. come gather around me. We're gonna talk about the high ready or strike ready. All right, so the higher strike ready, pretty easy, right? For me, I generally use this if I'm moving in and around cars. This works pretty good because if I get close to a vehicle, I'm not banging off the car or the barricade. Generally, I'll go to this as I'm getting close to a barricade to shoot off of. So I come into it and I can just drop the gun down. If I'm moving through like chest or waist high, like brush, or moving through water, there's another time I'll use it. And also if I'm covering a high area, like I say, you know, that's where we thought the bad guys were, and I'm supposed to cover that and be a little faster than to come all the way up from up here, right? I basically got buttstock, kind of chicken wing under my arm. My index finger is generally pointed straight along the side of the rail here, kind of because, you know, people are used to point this stuff, right? So it's pretty easy. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna be eyes muzzle target. I'm just gonna punch the gun out, pull straight back into my shoulder to get my dot where I need it, and then fire that round, all right? All right, so be eyes muzzle target. Stand by. Gonna go 2.5. Stand by. And last one, drop down to 2 seconds. I'm gonna get this. Stand by. All right, we should be at a relay. All right, now everybody look center real quick. We're just gonna work out some basic facing movement. So instead of that lower, you be kind of like more of an indoor ready. Our rifle's gonna be a little bit lower. All I'm gonna do on that beep is I'm just gonna pivot towards my head towards the target, look, and I'm gonna pivot on the foot that's closest to it, and I'm gonna drive this foot around to where it needs to be. All right, all in one smooth motion. So we'll do 5 starting facing this way, and we'll do 5 starting facing this way. Working those next 2 columns down.
So far we've practiced our pivoting and maneuvers as far as staying stationary, left, right, and also getting a height over bore. And so far it's pretty cool. Again, doing these close distance to out to 100 yards that we've done so far, you see your point of impact shift due to the distance, and again due to height over bore. Something to take into consideration if you ever run one of these classes, run these drills, or find yourself in that situation where you have to engage a target at that type of range.
1 round, then target 2, then target 1, then target 3, then target 1, then 4, then 1, then 5, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, right? Just getting you used to driving the gun, leading with your eyes, all that stuff. Like I said, you know, if you're on those shorter ones, you can just literally use the recoil and then just come back on the second guy. Just under 7, but he threw a few out.
So right now what we're doing is we're comparing the RC2 to the RC3, 5 rounds to each rifle, identical rifles, 11.5-inch BCM. And just to see if we notice a difference in sound signature and also a difference in that blowback. Let's find out.
Every gas gun's going properly. Going 3 o'clock. I only need like 3 or 4 videos.
There's a difference. Now don't worry, I'm sure a lot of you are already asking for this video. Yes, we are going to compare the original RC2 to the new RC3. That video will be coming out soon. We're going to record it while we're here, but you guys just have to stay tuned and watch that video at a later date, because today all we're going to be doing is running drills, shooting, driving, and having a lot of fun. So that's what we're focused on today. RC2 versus RC3 coming later.
Who's watching the ejection pattern of the brass? A few of you guys were checking it out, right? So like we saw that like when you had the RC2 on, that ejection was up closer to 3 or 2 o'clock, was coming back hard off, where that flow through cam was providing kind of a more traditional ejection pattern to 3, 4 o'clock, right? Now obviously that's indicative of less gas in the system. Everybody's thinking about operator safety from inhaling, you know, lead, carbon, etc. and everybody's thinking about, you know, kind of keeping that blast out of their eyes, right? So minimize what's happening at the shooter. The things that people don't think about or talk about when it comes to precision gas gunning though, and this is why like I'm super excited for this can, especially when the Big Brother version comes out, is that gas in the system increases the speed and the velocity of that bolt carrier, right, which provides more visual disturbance in the sight from shot to shot. That visual disturbance is going to cause like your split time to go up because you can't keep the gun on target as much depending on target size and distance to target. So it's going to be something really cool. But you guys watch how the dot behaves, right, on the red dots, but especially when you get in a magnified optic, it'll really start to show itself as you can see it more.
All right, so just quick fundamentals of marksmanship here. Standing to prone. So I'm kind of looking at my target, eyes muzzle target. I want to keep my eyes on that target as I go down to the prone. I'm going to use my magazine as a monopod when I get down there for maximum stability. Ideally, my goal is here that when I press the trigger and the gun cycles, that reticle should not move very much, and when it does, I want it to drop exactly back to where it was when that shot broke, in case I need more follow-up shots. Also, so I can see the effect of the round and then adjust fire as needed. Toes, knees, hips, shoulders, all kind of square towards it. I'm just going to lower myself down, plant my hand, crawl behind me, looking right down the top, using my top of my turret here, almost as like a front sight. And I'm just going to drop right down. I should be looking directly at my target. Or anytime you get up off the ground or from a kneeling, always look behind you, especially in the events we're going to be doing. You're going to have other people bailing out of cars and doing stuff running around shooting. You don't want to stand up and catch somebody else's bullet in the back of the noggin. So if we do a quick check, top up, yeah, come back up. Yep, about 4 inches. So to come up about that's 5.5. So each click's value is worth a 1/4 inch here. So you come up 20 clicks. Okay. Up 20 and left 6.
Sounds good. Just did a basic 0. I need to go up 20 clicks, left 6 clicks. But anybody got a torque wrench? So what's really cool is shooting in the prone, the gases don't have as much of an area to go to, right? If you're standing, they can go down, they can go to the side, they can go up. But if you're shooting in the prone, those gases can just bounce right off the dirt and back into your face. And something I'm noticing about the RC3 is even though I can taste it a little bit, it's not bad. Maybe if I just shoot with my mouth closed, it'd be a little bit better.
We get our stability from the ground, right? So the higher we get off the ground, the more we lose of that. So unless I can get some of it back with like a tripod or a barricade or something in the real world that I can connect the gun to, I'm always gonna be less stable. So one of the ways we can get stability back is using our sling, right? So a good 2-point quick adjust sling is kind of the master key to this thing. So all I want to do is take that step forward, drop this knee down. You can connect your butt to your heel, however you need to do that. I generally want the back of my elbow inside the side of my knee here, and I'm gonna tighten my sling down as much as I can. Take my hand, run it in through this, still keep my index finger along the front. So again, sling tension. It's also gonna allow me to recover a little bit faster on here.
So now we're shooting from different positions. We're not just pivoting, we're actually getting into the kneeling. We've done prone already, just sighting in, but now we're getting into the kneeling and standing position a little bit more at 50 yards, which is pretty fun. And something that obviously is definitely a tool to use and something that I have preached to you guys a lot. Again, it's like a holster for your rifle, that is the sling. If you get a nice, decent sling, get that cinched up tight to your body. As the instructor's already talked about, a 2-point adjustable is really where it's at. Where I have the sling mounted on this gun is ultimately because that's where they put the sling mounts. But I really don't mind this setup here, which is a little bit closer to the rear of the rail and then the receiver of the rifle itself. But what this ultimately allows me to do, and I'm running a Tech 10 sling, pull this up nice and tight. Notice where it's sitting now. And if I go ahead and a lot of stability right here. This is super tight to the body, and this makes it a lot more of a stable shooting platform if you're shooting in these positions that are sometimes not as stable. So a good sling is where it's at, and that's what I'm learning here, obviously.
single round. Now I'm gonna give you 15 seconds for 5 rounds. Try and get 5 hits. Something else you could try if that's not working enough for you, your sling doesn't really work, something like wringing a towel out, right? So this hand slight rotation this way, this hand slight rotation this way. That can also help lock that gun in. Something else you could do is like offset wobble zones. It's usually, you know, you're look kind of like a figure 8 or something. Where is it moving the fastest, right? You generally has that crossover point in the center of that figure 8. So if you take your figure 8, this is my target, and I just offset it this way. All right, so I get all that dwell time as to get guns coming back. Whether you have an oval shaped wobble zone or you have that figure 8. Another one is the butt tug. I think it was Benny Cooley that first started talking about this. They basically at the last second, I kind of just gonna give a little bit of like squeeze to the back of this hand, my firing hand. It's gonna drive the sights just up towards the top of the target, and as my hand relaxes, my reticle should fall straight down through the center. Once it gets to the right spot, then you squeeze the trigger. So a couple different things you can try there. All right, guys, next thing we're gonna work on is shooting on the move. So a couple just quick takes here. So if I walk down range and I have my feet really wide, which way is the gun move?
Left and right.
Side to side, right? If I take really big steps, which way is the gun moving?
Up and down.
Up and down. So what does that tell me? How do I want my feet to go?
Right.
Kind of generally shorter strides, a little bit narrower, right? Kind of roll your feet along the outside edge. Kind of that nice heel toe. Move with the gun down so I can see what I'm actually moving into. And then on the beep, right, I'm gonna bring the gun up and I'm gonna fire my rounds off. Trying to stay as close as I can to that A zone tight. So I'll move, you know, you got the beep. Everybody got it?
Yep.
Cool. And move. Moving. All right, on safe, come on back. A pair standing, a pair kneeling to the body. Left target only. All right, now you're gonna have 5 seconds. Shooting on the move, pair it to the body. Move.
Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Those account for 1 point each.
20.
Everything in the down 0 counts. All right, next one we're gonna work on is basically the zipper drill. So what I'm gonna start low on the guy, and I'm just gonna let the gun climb and just walk those rounds straight right up through the center of him, right? Hopefully you get spine hit in there somewhere. The guy just goes to the ground as you're going. So start low. I'm just gonna let that gun just climb right up him. All right, stand by. All right, guys, go ahead. Do a good 3-point safety check on your rifle. So take that mag out, put the mag away, lock that bolt to the rear.
So this whole last segment was pretty fun, again with a lot of movement, and of course we wanted to actually hit the target. So anything that was pretty much in the A zone, in the alpha, pretty much anything that was in the head was 2 points. Anything outside of the A zone was 1 point, and he wanted us to get a total of 80 points. I got 76 because I pulled 2, which would have been, well, if they were actually in the body in the A zone, that would have been 2 points each, bringing me to those 4 additional that I needed to make 80. But whatever, I focused on speed yet again, but ultimately I am actually really happy with the performance of this rifle, the can, and the aim point optic that I'm utilizing, and me. I was actually really impressed with how things went. I had everything in the T box, if that's what you want to call it, but in the circle at the head for all the headshots. So again, I was pretty happy with it. Now I need to go load some mags.
All right, so it's gonna be 1, reload 5. You're gonna start with a 1 round in the gun. So 1 round in the chamber, and then empty mag in the gun, and you're gonna set it up. We'll run through it a bunch of. Remember, change side, mix it up, right? So change sides, change heights, all that stuff. Try to come out of the same place twice in a row. All right, go ahead, cover down behind your barrel.
So we are several hundred rounds in now with the BCM 11.5 rifle and the RC3 by Surefire. We've just had a lot of fun shooting around the barricades, both strong side and support side, and also getting used to shooting from different positions during that reload, because something that you guys might know is, especially in a combat zone, and something that apparently a lot of US forces saw enemy combatants doing, was pretty much doing a reload, reloading the RPG, ducking down behind cover, reloading, and then popping up in that exact same spot, and we're just pretty much playing whack-a-mole, except knowing where he's going to pop up. So put 2 and 2 together. So whenever you do that reload, you get that cover, move to a different position when you start engaging the threat again. And like I said, several hundred rounds in, I haven't lubed this guy up at all. Not going to.
We'll go over kind of like the 3 main fundamental positions of positional work, right? So we would kind of consider those like a low kneeling position, a high kneeling position, and then standing. And obviously there's variations of each one of these. Really what we're looking for here is to get square behind the rifle and get into natural point aim. So as I get into the position, I'm looking at the target. I look at whichever position that I'm going to be shooting off of whichever prop, and then I'm going to go in, I'm going to interface this prop, lining up and aligning my shoulders, my hips, and my toes straight forward towards the target. A good way to check that you're actually aligned with the target in this position is if I take my firing hand and take it off the pistol grip and reach up here, are both of my hands aligned? If they are, then I'm in a good natural, I'm kind of square to the rifle properly, right? Getting into a high kneeling position, there's kind of 2 different ways that you can do it. There's kind of a double knee high kneeling or a single knee high kneeling. Single knee, if you do it properly, you can still get plenty square to the rifle. I would say we probably have very similar recoil control, but the pros to single knee is kind of the efficiency of getting in and out of that position. So coming into this, drop to both knees, and it's pretty much just right there. Kind of almost into a half squat just on our knees. We kind of call that the hover butt. And then getting into the high kneeling just with 1 knee, that's it right here. Again, I'm aligned straight with the target. My hips are still aligned with the target. My shoulders are still square to the target, all that same stuff. Take your hand and kind of wrap your hand around your sling right here. And then it honestly kind of just locks the front of that gun and connects it all as one to whatever you grip onto as far as a barricade. So if you take it kind of right around the mag well right here, obviously you loosen up with the sling tension in it, right around the mag well, kind of overhand grip right here, and then wrap it around. And then if you're going into a position like this sling tension right here, obviously it's wrapping it around my hand, and it's wrapping it around the back of my neck, and really kind of just creating the system all as one here, right like this. Jay is going to show you some stuff in and around the vehicles. So we talked a little bit about how rounds kind of follow walls and things like that, and they'll skip the skip angles they come back at. The wheels can be good spots to catch a lot of those skips, so I try and keep myself somewhere around these. All right, this is where if I see a car out in the street and I was going to use it for cover, this is where I want to be. All of this in here to catch the skips, like the actual rims and rotors, stuff like that, are really good at stopping rounds. I've stopped shooting them in demos because
I kept shooting myself. Even the car was like farther, like 25 yards away. They like to hit these little round things and they like skip right back out at you. Something we have to consider also is height over bore. So this is a little higher than back here. Look how many skips and rounds have gone through this. One good technique to kind of avoid that is if I keep my barrel or my bore to optic axis to match what I'm shooting around. So say I'm shooting off of this here, using this for my support. If I match this angle here, then I know I should be clear somehow, right? So I didn't shoot the car. Shooting over the hood. So what I can do is roll my gun over sideways. Keep my body behind this the best I can. Put that buttstock on top of my shoulder here. Keep my elbow down. And what this is going to do is going to drastically reduce the profile I'm presenting over the vehicle here. It's such a small profile, by the time I get my sight picture and my wobble zone down, they're already hitting me as they're shooting at me, right? So you're reducing the profile just enough where the bad guy has to refine their sight picture and take so much time that somebody's going to be zapping them first. Make sense? Shoot under the car. One technique is this like reverse kneeling, where I'm going to keep my knees and everything behind it. And I'm going to put that gun out here and I can basically run the magazine up into my arm. And again, it's very tricky to use. Why I don't like it too much, right? You can induce malfunctions if you block the ejection port there. And also, it's really hard. If some people are like moving on me, I don't want to be down there with my ass up in the air, right? One I prefer a little bit more is the SBU prone. So basically, I'm gonna get down behind here, and that's hot. And I'm gonna basically Superman the gun out in front of me here, and I'm gonna hold the optic. That's gonna control it. I'm pushing my arms out using that red dot. All right, nice low profile. I'm not blocking the ejection port, and I can get in and out of it so I can get back behind cover. And if people start moving on me this way, I don't have my butthole pointed towards them.
Yep. That was a gun hit. The other one being a high kneeling position around this rock. Okay. Obviously, don't shoot.
That target I'm shooting at is 170 yards out. Easy. This right here is unprotected, and it's getting really hot.
You'll see it's in line.
There's just a little skin sizzle there. It's okay. I'm not a bitch.
What you're gonna do, you're gonna pick up, you're gonna follow Larry up to range 4, where he's gonna start to brief you and conduct the walkthrough for what we're gonna finish up today, which is the urban assault course.
So you're gonna shoot the steel in number order. So this is focusing on wide transitions and kind of moving your eyes before the gun, right? So you're starting on 1, wide transition to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Once you get to 12, your last shot on 13 has to be in the red. Once you get that headshot there, we're gonna move over onto this range. In between these two barrels is the only position that you can fire from for the first bank of targets. If you look down range, in between the two barrels, you have 2 red heads. So obviously you gotta hit the 2 red heads from in between these 2 barrels. Once you guys shoot those 2 red heads, getting down inside of that bunker, obviously shooting over top of the barrel that's underneath there. You have another red target, which is the target that you're shooting at. Each target that you engage, you have a possibility of 2 shots at that target. If you hit your first shot, you're moving on to the next target. If you miss the first shot, you have the opportunity to take a second shot out of it, but if you miss that second shot, still moving on to the next target. From there, if you go into this doorway here, we're going up top, up the stairs. So once you get into this Connex tower, as well as the next Connex tower, once we get down on 1, all of your positions are marked by a whiteboard. You shoot from the position that the whiteboard is attached to.
Let's go shoot all the hostages. There's more of those than there are actual targets, so I feel like that's more of a challenge, you know?
Bravo at the bottom right of lane Bravo. Everybody see the big IPSC that's red and white?
Yeah, down.
That's your target from here. So first position here, again, 2 shots. If you hit it on the first shot, move on. If you miss both shots, still move on. Then you're gonna do the same target off of the fence. Once you're done with that, you're following these cones and moving back around the tower. All right, once you're up here, you're pretty much, as you come up the stairs, as you're moving, you're shooting out of these windows in this order, with the one down on the end being your final target for this. And there'll be somebody up here to kind of talk you through unloading, shoot and clear, and marking down your time. All right, shooter ready?
Ready.
Stand by, go.
Oh God. Cool. Make that brightness a little bit here.
Between the barrels, 2 redheads. Hey! Hey! Underneath.
Between which ones again?
1 and 2. Ooh, someone might have killed it.
Yeah, I don't.
All right, skip forward.
Okay. 1 and 3.
Just hit target 2 3 times.
Target.
Back up top. Hit target 2 3 times.
Got it.
One, 3, 2.
Where's 1?
Okay, 1's down too.
Okay. 4, 3.
All right, just hit the other ones.
Okay. Got it.
Just hit all 3.
Got it. I'll start with 2 and 4.
4 impacts. 6 impacts. Miss. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Got it.
Safe.
Is that a hit?
Nope.
No, got it. Oh, shit. Impact. Miss. Impact.
Yes.
Impact.
Around the back, upstairs.
Got it. Okay. All right. Fire. Got it. Okay. Yep, I'll say move. Who's probably anyway.
One of the biggest things I saw was guys letting their can touch the barricade that they were shooting off of, especially on some of these real world props where you had like the cinder block with a little hump. That thing was touching it and your round's hitting like 4 feet above the target, right? It doesn't take much.
Couple things, so like obviously speed. I saw a lot of guys getting in position quickly and getting the hits like within 1 to 2 seconds of being on target, which is exactly what we were going for. We were this close. We kept those targets inside of 200, right? Which is well within like point and click on the with the 100-yard zero we did today. But really what that comes down with, you're within threat weapon space, right? So they've got just as good a chance as you do in terms ballistically. It's just he who hits first wins, right? So we got to push that speed